Periodically you need to do an inspection and some routine maintenance on your GrassFlap. So what we want to do today is to take you through that process. It's pretty quick and easy. We're going to be working with a walk-behind lawnmower today, with the same steps apply to whether it's a walk-behind, stand-on, or a rider lawnmower. So the first thing we want to do is get the lawnmower cleaned off. Okay, now that we've got the lawnmower blown off and cleaned up some, we want to come in and do some inspection and some lubrication on it. So first thing we want to look at is we want to look at the bushings here for the pivot point, and also the bushing that pivots for the spring. And so what we want to do is just wipe it off and make sure there's not any large amounts of dirt on there. And once we've done that, then we're going to want to spray a little lube on here. What I use is like a silicone spray. But basically you need like a dry lube, something that's not going to collect dust for you and dirt. So we want to go ahead and spray all three of those points. Work it a couple times to make sure that oil gets worked in, and then I like to wipe off the extra just because it's just another point to collect dirt. So now that we've got those points lubricated, the next thing we want to do is we want to look at the cable itself. So we've got a rubber boot on here that protects it from moisture. We want to make sure that that rubber boot is in place. Also, we want to check the cable and make sure that there's not any fray starting on it. That would be a sign that we've got a problem coming on. So we'll go ahead and put that boot in place, make sure that it's there. And we want to look at the cable itself and make sure that the routing is okay. What you really got to be careful of is right at this point where the transitions from the fitting to the conduit is what they call it. That needs to be fairly straight. If you get a little bit of a sharp turn right here, it will cause you a problem, will cause the cable to fail. So be sure this runs nice and smooth. And then we want to go ahead and check the rest of the cable on over. And to do that, we're going to need to remove this cover. So we're going to look at the cable, make sure that it's routed properly, that it's not laying down, getting into the belts or anything, and that there's no wear taking the cover off of the cable itself. So this all looks good underneath here. With that done, we're going to reinstall the cover back on top. Okay, there's several things that we want to check on the pedal. The first one is we want to finish up on the cable routing to make sure that we're still okay there. So we want to inspect again the cable itself and pay particular attention to the transition from the fitting to the conduit, make sure that it's in good alignment, and just look up the cable and make sure that it's not binding anywhere. The next thing we want to do is we've got a couple of lubrication points on here. We want to lubricate at the bushings themselves on the pedal and also up here at this pin. So we'll put a little spray in here. Wipe off the excess again so we don't collect any extra dirt on there if we can avoid it. And the same thing we did on the other end, we want to make sure that the cable itself doesn't have any fray or wear on it. Make sure that this rubber boot is in place to keep the water and moisture out. And then the final thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that as we operate the pedal that it's adjusted such that it will bottom out. And I don't know if I can get it by hand here, but there's a bolt here that actually is designed to bottom out on this pedal, particularly on the walk-behinds. This is the case. What you don't want to do is have it adjusted up real tall where the operator can stand on it and all the pressure is taken by the cable. So we've got that set that way. I can feel it bottom out as I push the pedal down. So that's a good spot for it. And then so the next thing we're ready to do is to make sure that the flap itself is performing properly, and that's through the spring adjustment. So let's go do that. Now that we've got the cable routing checked and the lubrication done to everything, the next thing we want to do is we want to verify the operation of the flap. So what we're looking for is we're looking for good smooth operation from open to closed, and also so what we want to do is just set the flap to the balance point and then operate the pedal. When you push the pedal down, which I'm doing now, what you want it to do is to pull the flap a little bit toward the closed position so that it falls closed. So in this case, we've got a little bit too much spring tension. So I'm going to back the spring off just a little bit. Use a 7/16 wrench, and then you can back this bolt out. And I'm going to give it 6 or 7 cranks here just to get it into that spot. Go back and we're going to push the pedal down, again just firm pressure, and you can see I can get it to fall closed. So once that's done, then the operation from open to close is very smooth and very easy. And that's exactly where you want it to be. One other thing that you might want to look at is you want to make sure that this deflector angle sandwiched between the hinge plate and the blocker plate itself, make sure it's still in place in that. If it's not there, you get a lot of grass blowing up and not much fun. Not too bad on a walk behind, but on a rider, that's no fun. Quick, easy way to inspect your grass flap and make sure that it's in good working order so when you get on the job site, you don't have any surprises.